Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pregame coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
And good morning from our studios in Waco, Texas, and just a little bit west of I-35 and McLean Stadium. But speaking of west, that is where Baylor is today in Lubbock against Joey McGuire and the Red Raiders. And, of course, Baylor looking for something, a glimpse of something that could possibly get this first part of the season turned around. And, will it happen against Texas Tech, who beat them badly in Waco last year? Baylor's last trip to Lubbock, they won and beat up Joey McGuire in Texas Tech. I'm David Smoak. Good morning. This is KWTX and 365 Sports. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina. We are here on set, and Garrett Ross running the mothership. Paul and Craig, this is a series that goes back. This is 80-plus times they've met. Baylor has won 9 of the last 13, 4 of the last 6. I don't expect them to win today, but, Paul?
If they can contain Taj Brooks, which no one's done. I mean, Tech is 5-1. The one game that they lost, Taj Brooks did not play. Now, Washington State played so well in that game, I'm not sure how much a difference he would have made, and Tech played really bad in that one. But outside of that, and that's what ifs that will never get answered, they've been fantastic on offense. They've been good enough on defense, which when you have an offense that can be prolific, then that's really kind of all you need. They always can get better, but that's where I think the rubber meets the road here for Baylor, because I'm not sure they can contain Taj Brooks, and he has been the driving engine of the Tech offense, and nobody's really had an answer for him this year.
Well, another note about this series is Baylor leads it by 1 game all time.
Yep.
So looking like they could be all tied up, or Baylor will take a 2-game lead as they lead all time 41-40-1. So looking at today at the 83rd meeting ever, and a pretty close series overall, as close as you can get. Taj Brooks is the obvious choice to go to. He's the best player on Tech's entire team, and they are not the same without him. They didn't lose the Washington game solely because they didn't have him, but that certainly didn't help matters. But they're very good at home. They played at home, I think this is the 5th time in 7 games, and they've been very successful at home and very successful with not only Brooks, but also Baron Morton having a really good year, throwing the ball well, protecting the football as importantly as anything, and then they've just played really hard and gotten timely turnovers and done the small things down the stretch of games that tipped them in their favor and given them this 5-1 start. So they've proved clutch in games like Arizona State and Arizona and others. But Baylor, on the other hand, has been very erratic, very up and down. Some weeks the first half's not great, or the first quarter's not great. Other weeks the closing stretch isn't great. Some weeks both aren't great. It's an impossible team to try and predict. It really is, in my opinion. But they have a chance to win today. Thing is, guys, that Big 12, you got a chance to win every single game. So I kind of am saying that every week like it means something, but it's losing meaning every week because it stays the same, but the results don't change. So it's now or never for them. Like, they're not in must-win, but they're basically in must-win, because the only reason they're not in must-win is because they technically have a game they can breathe to still make a bowl game. But we're at the point now where that's about to change, like in the next week.
Yeah, they have to start stringing some wins together, and they haven't been able to do that. By the way, you mentioned turnovers. Yesterday, I think on the show, Texas Tech is 35th in the country as far as plus-minus when it comes to turnover ratio, and that is a big deal. Baylor has started poorly and then finished well, as you said, Craig, and lost. They have started well and been finished poorly, and they've lost. And then they may have played okay, but then had a field goal block for a touchdown or a punt block for a touchdown. And in between that, that's what teams that aren't very good do. And as you mentioned, 41-40. Baylor leads the series 1 tie. Baylor's won 4 of the last 6. They started going back to the campuses to play this game back in 2019 after going to the Cotton Bowl and then eventually AT&T Stadium.
And thank you for doing that, because I would not want to be at AT&T Stadium right now trying to preview this game.
No, not well. I mean, it's part of our job, but I get what you're saying. There were some days in which we did not know. There were some electric games between these two teams. But the last couple of years, Baylor thumped Tech in Lubbock, and then, of course, Tech dominated that game last year at McLean Stadium.
Yeah, and the series, again, goes back and forth. Historically, though, Baylor has not been great in Lubbock. Moving the series to AT&T Stadium really did help Baylor get kind of a foothold in this, because they could not win at Jones AT&T Stadium for the longest time. They've never been classically good there. And I just want to go back to something Craig said. This is the last buffer game they have if they don't win. Like, this is it. Like, the buffer's gone. Like, they've used up all their buffer on getting to a bowl game. Like, that's
they lose today, they have to win out.
Yeah, there's no more buffer. Yeah. They have one buffer game as long as they keep winning, or if they can keep winning, which they haven't shown the ability to really do.
By the way, last night, one quick note, then we get to Nathan Smith, who's in Lubbock with us with KWTX. That last night, BYU, in a dramatic win at home against Oklahoma State, who had to eventually go to Alan Bowman at quarterback. Ollie Gordon had a pretty good game, but BYU stays undefeated in a dramatic last, 15 or 20-second touchdown. Retzloff to Lassiter, and they win to beat Oklahoma State 38-35.
Yeah, it was an incredible game. Hats off to Oklahoma State for a valiant effort. Garrett Rangel gave them a real shot in the arm, and it's unfortunate he got hurt, and he got hurt on a long run that was setting them up on the doorstep, and Alan Bowman comes in and finishes off that drive, and Alan Bowman then throws a really ugly pick not long after, and you're like, here we go. But then he actually played pretty okay. But Ollie Gordon started off like a house on fire, and then he starts getting beat up, and credit to BYU for delivering some hits on him, but he was in and out. And then, BYU just kept chipping away and hanging in there, and eventually they bust a big play at the end of the game after some really poor defense from Oklahoma State. The big story here was, the start of the game, Oklahoma State with Rangel in there looked really good. Got 3 first-half interceptions where BYU's been really good not turning the ball over, 3 first-half picks, and that kept them in the fight. But unfortunately, they got no stops after that. They just could not get any stops on defense. But it was a great game, and by the end, you're thinking BYU's maybe a team of destiny, because they had a minute to score, and they scored. So, yeah, it was a great finish.
It was unbelievable, and it was a throw that there was a lot of traffic around that throw before Lassiter made it, broke a tackle, then weaved through a couple of more in the secondary to win it with 10 seconds left in the game. Nathan Smith is in Lubbock covering the Baylor game against Texas Tech. Nathan, I looked, the temperature's 60 degrees, but 15 to 25 mile-an-hour winds, which, of course, that's West Texas. Give us an idea of the atmosphere. And by the way, be a part of the show. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's starting to gear up a little bit here now. I mean, it's 9:10 in the morning, 9:13. So the tailgating hasn't really kicked off yet, but just on the road here yesterday, there were Tech fans everywhere along I-20, 84, you name it. There were people everywhere traveling out west for this game, and they're excited, and why shouldn't they be, right? They're 5-1 on the year, undefeated in conference play. They have a really prolific offense that can be fun to watch. As for the wins, it's windy. It's West Texas. This is my first experience in West Texas, so I knew it was windy. I'd heard all about it, but I didn't really know what to expect. But if it gets windier than this, I don't know,
guys. Nate, this is a Baylor team that they have little spurts of, oh, hey, look, that looks good. This is, that if they can do this again and again in this game, they'll win the game, and then they don't. What is the key for you this week on offense for them to keep that going?
To me, the key on offense is establishing some sort of, it can be a run game, it can be short passes, it can be screens, but they need something that aren't shot plays. They need to be able to get yards on plays that aren't explosive, because those just aren't sustainable. If they have any chance to stay in this game, keep the ball away from Tech, they've got to do that. They've got to have a sustainable offense and be able to put drives together that are longer than 3 minutes, because they hit a couple of explosive plays and score.
Do you feel like there will be a little extra pep in Sawyer Robertson's step playing at home in Lubbock today?
I hope so. I mean, I'm sure homecoming always feels it's a little bittersweet. I can't imagine that he grew up hating Tech. He probably, as a kid, wanted to come play quarterback at Tech for a spell. So if Baylor wants to win today, they're going to need a little bit of extra pep in Sawyer Robinson's step, and we're going to need to see that good version of Sawyer Robinson that we've seen at times this year.
By the way, Nathan, with hair like yours, that wind will not bother you. If we look at you later in the day and it's all over the place like mine would be, that you got that set of hair, you're fine. You got it all locked in. So your thoughts about just Baylor needing something positive. It's one thing, it's like rinse and repeat week after week, and what a win might mean to this team.
Yeah, they need it. They need a win now. Like y'all were saying earlier, they've got one buffer game if they want to get to a bowl. And I feel like that was the goal going into the season. Maybe looking back now, that might have been slightly lofty, but you go into almost every year wanting, okay, if we can squeeze out 6 or 7 wins, we can get to that bowl game, especially after the last couple of years that have obviously not been amazing. That bowl game would be a shot in the arm for this program and help them build momentum. So today, if they can pull out that win, that would be the first step, maybe a building block for kind of getting back to being a good, solid program.
Nathan, what are your thoughts on what Texas Tech has been this year? I mean, they again, the defense isn't the doomsday defense or the Purple People Eaters, but they're good enough, and they've kept their quarterback healthy all year long, which is something they haven't done in probably 4 or 5 years.
I mean, Tech is fun to watch. I mean, if you're a fan of offensive football, you're gonna love to watch Tech. I mean, they're eating up yards at will, putting up points. I will say they do have kind of a tendency to play in these close games. I mean, outside of Washington State and their big win over UNT, they've played a lot of close ones. So, I mean, some could call that playing with their food a little bit, I guess, if you will. I don't know. But if that tendency keeps up and Baylor's in a game late and they play a clean game and kind of keep it that way, then maybe they come out of here with a win later today.
All right, Nathan, good to have you. Welcome to what we do, and stay safe and stay windblown. I like it, but we'll talk to you again. When the coverage tonight, later on KWTX, correct?
Yes, sir. It highlights in our 6 o'clock show, and then we will have a full story with sound from postgame and all that at 10 o'clock tonight, as well as in our morning show tomorrow morning. So be sure to stick with us for all of that analysis from this matchup in Lubbock today. Thanks for having me, guys.
Did you have a chance to talk to any of the fans at all, even when you arrived? You said there's a bunch of them. I would think that they're incredibly positive and very confident about today.
You know, I have some good buddies that either went to Tech or currently still go to Tech, and they're feeling good. They're kind of expecting a little bit of a walk in the park today, and maybe that's what they'll get. I don't know. I'm hoping for a close one, as we all are, but they're confident, and they've had no reason not to be so far.
Thank you for your time. Nathan Smith, KWTX. We appreciate him for being a part of our show today from Lubbock, and they are everywhere that Baylor plays, whether it's in Lubbock or whatever. They have games against in Morgantown later on this year. So Baylor football will have pregame here every Saturday at 9 o'clock until 10:30 on KWTX. Coming up in a little bit, we'll hear from Kyler Jordan and Campbell Barrington, players from Baylor on this week. Garrett Ross and his keys to the game. Our interview from earlier this week with Texas Tech football coach Joey McGuire. Some comments from Dave Aranda, Baylor football coach from earlier this week. And then a very insightful segment with former Baylor quarterback Seth Russell today. He will join us too. So we mentioned last night BYU won. We'll also have the Big 12 schedule today, along with what Tech and Baylor have at 3 o'clock on ESPN2. Today, kickoff at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, and we had to go to the live report there, but hats off to BYU. I mean, I was trying to say there at the end that was just a team of destiny type of win for them. I thought Oklahoma State played really hard, and early on, I'm not sure, but I think Mike Gundy might have been calling plays because they were cooking on offense. Then Rangel gets hurt on a big run, and Gordon gets hurt, and they are down a bunch of guys on defense and have been throughout the year, and they couldn't hang on. But I thought that was a really encouraging showing for Oklahoma State, given all the adversity they were dealing with on the road and all that at night, Friday, and the injuries. For a bad season, that was actually like pat on the back, guys. You didn't finish it. And I know Oklahoma State fans will be like, we don't care, you didn't win. But I don't know. I thought they played hard. BYU, they just got it, man. Retzloff was great. Lassiter with a huge play. And L.J. Martin, a young man from El Paso, I've been saying throughout the week that I thought maybe they were starting to get a little kick in the run game because he was back and healthy, and I think that showed last night. So BYU actually maybe getting stronger as the season goes on, especially if Retzlaff plays like that in the second half. But they had their chance to get knocked out last night. 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions in the first half, and they still got the win.
He's my favorite story, Retzlaff in the Big 12 quarterbacks this year. I mean, how often do you get a guy that wins the job the last possible day he can win it and then hasn't lost and plays as gutsy as he does and has rallied that team? But my favorite story in the Big 12 this year.
Well, yeah, and the thing about him is the deal with he and Bohannon is that it really did go down to the last minute before Kalani Sitake made that decision. We got a lot to get to, including we'll hear from the players Kyler Jordan and also Campbell Barrington. This KWTX and 365 Sports is Game Day Live.
Game Day Live, sponsored locally by Central Texas Plumbing Solutions and Bird Colgin Ford.
Lessons in Adulting, brought to you by SPJST. Hello, happy family. Congratulations on your adulting progress. You're killing it. Are you ready for the next step in your adulting journey? Great. Let's talk retirement planning. Don't be scared. SPJST is here to help with traditional and Roth IRAs to help you grow your wealth and annuities that can guarantee growth and provide income that will last your entire life. Now that's some solid adulting. SPJST, helping people adult since 1897.
The right call can make all the difference on and off the field. Hi, I'm Mark Stewart with Bird Colgin Ford. When it's that time for your next car, truck, or SUV, Bird Colgin Ford is the right call. Check out the F-150, America's #1 truck, 47 years in a row. Now with 3.9 for 60, plus additional savings. Make the right call with your next vehicle at Bird Colgin Ford. Experience better at BK Ford.
It's the home makeover sale at Furniture Row, where the more you buy, the more you save. Save $100 on every $1,000 you spend. Plus, find unbeatable deals, like the Cascade sofa, only $4.99. Save big on the Gunsmoke panel bed, only $4.99. Get the 5-piece Central Park dining set for only $6.49. And save $100 on the Buena Vista, any size, any model. Or get more bang for your buck with 60 months, no interest. But don't miss out. The home makeover sale at Furniture Row ends Thursday the 24th.
Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pregame coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
Lubbock guy, what does this game mean to you? Is this, you almost went there and you're from there? What are your emotions going into this game?
Yeah, it's just a cool deal. I mean, I'll have a lot of my people there, whether they're wearing red and black or green. But no, it's just cool. It's just cool being able to play in the hometown in front of a bunch of people that I love. So, yeah, just a cool deal.
An offense like Texas Tech, what stands out most about them that you're focusing on?
They do a lot. And they're really good at it. They score a lot of points. So they've got some really talented players. So, yeah, they're really talented and they do a lot.
Mentally, I'm sure the bye week is a little bit of a reset. What was Coach Aranda's message to y'all as y'all prepare for the back half of the season?
Said it's not over. We got 6 more games to make a bowl game, make something of this team. A couple of those games bounce a little bit differently than the way they did. We'd be sitting here feeling a lot better about ourselves. Just that it's not over. We got a big one on Saturday. So.
Physically, Coach Aranda mentioned y'all got a couple guys back from injuries during the bye week. Is this kind of the healthiest y'all have been since the beginning of the season? And how good is it to see those guys back?
Probably. It's great. We're still trying to get a few more guys back, but it's great going in fully loaded. It's always good.
What do you remember most about that atmosphere and just having to go there and kind of play?
Yeah, it's cool. I haven't even been since they changed all the new renovations and everything. But shoot, watching games in there growing up, it's a cool stadium, There's always going to be a lot of people there. It's always going to be crowded, and it's always going to be loud, so very cool.
You mentioned it's kind of on this team to make something out of this season with the final games that you guys have, but it seems like the schedule kind of, maybe lines up in a way where you have that ability to do so. I mean, is that at all what you guys are focusing on, like the ability to win these winnable games?
Yes, sir. I think that's half the battle in football is just believing that you can do it. So I think just going in with confidence gives you so much of a better chance to win a football game. So I really think that we can do it. I think the guys here think that we can do it. So just ready to go. Got to start it on Saturday.
How are you feeling? How are you personally, individually feeling? And then the offensive line, how does that group feel going into a game like this?
Yeah, no, feeling good. Good bye week, rested up well, so it was good. I mean, the O-line, we spent some time focused on that run game after Iowa State, and so it's coming together. It's looking good, ready to roll for Texas Tech.
What was kind of Coach Aranda's message to y'all going off that bye week into the back half of the season?
I think just like reminding us to stay focused, right? I mean, we have these games that are in front of us that we can win, and we do that. I mean, we're making our way onto a bowl game, and so it's just keeping that mindset, staying focused. Hey, we can still finish the season out strong.
How important is player leadership to kind of take it one game at a time and not look ahead in the schedule?
Yeah, it's big, right? I mean, we still got that focus to finish strong, but knowing, hey, we got to take care of business one game at a time, and slowly it'll stack on one game at a time.
Richard, back to practicing. How do you think that helps the run game?
No, yeah, for sure. Rich is a lot more, I don't know, jitterier, or I don't know how you want to say it, but he'll bounce it. He's a lot quicker, and so that adds a whole different aspect of our run game, which we were missing.
What are the steps that you want to take to improve that run game? You talk about, but what have you done to get there?
Yeah, no, we've been focusing a lot more detail in our one-on-one. We just keeping that mindset. Look, you win your one-on-one block, and if everybody else follows along winning their one-on-one blocks, then we'll all take one more step closer to the goal that we want to succeed.
What have y'all seen on film from Tex, do you think? Yeah,
Tex, they show a lot of different stuff, which is cool, kind of similar to our defense. But their linebackers, they're pretty good linebackers now. So we're planning, we're getting things dialed in for all aspects of the defense.
I guess when Texas Tech has played in a lot of close games, and you've played in some close games as well, I guess when it gets tight at the end of the game, if this one is tight too, what gives you the confidence that this team can kind of get over that hump?
Yeah, no. Just kind of looking back at our season, right? We've had a lot of close games, and we probably haven't capitalized on that, right? Losing the Colorado game, whatever else. So we've just kind of had that mentality of, like, we come out swinging, right? We're doing all this stuff. We're moving the ball just fine. We just have to keep staying consistent, right, throughout the whole game, and know, these moments will come when it's tight ball, and we gotta finish as a unit and as the offense.
Get ready, Baylor fans. The ultimate game weekend experience awaits you at the Baylor Club. Kick off your weekend with our Friday Night Live pep rally. With live entertainment and special appearances from the Baylor Spirit Squad, it's the perfect way to start your game weekend with a roar. On Saturdays, don't miss our Knox Hall tailgate. Enjoy delicious food, ice-cold drinks, and great company as you gear up for the big game. And after the weekend's excitement, wrap it all up with our famous Bear brunches on Sundays. Don't wait. Make your game weekends legendary with the Baylor Club membership today.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Make Camp Fimfo the destination for your next visit to Waco. Whether you're catching a football game, exploring the silos, or just looking to get away, Camp Fimfo Waco is conveniently located 6 miles from downtown and Baylor University. Voted the #1 best vacation rental in Waco for the last 2 years, this camping resort features cabins and RV sites and is brimming with premium amenities like on-site dining, sports courts, a swimming pool, and more. Start making unforgettable memories and book your stay at Camp Fimfo Waco.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott understand these are difficult and changing times we live in, but they know how important your financial investments are to you. So is your financial advisor staying in touch with you and helping you navigate today's financial climate? Invest with Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Chuck Verno, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, who invest their time and experience back to you and your money. And like coaching athletes, investing money is about time, patience, and encouragement. Contact Ben Erlinson at 254-759-8533, Brad Wilson's location at 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, and Cam Heathcott in Conroe. Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, proud sponsors of 365 Sports. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
There are 26 letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pregame coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
Welcome back to Game Day Live. I'm Garrett Ross with today's Keys to the Game presented by Richard Carr Motors. It hasn't been an ideal season for Baylor. They've just kind of found ways to get in their own way. They have been in almost every game they've played, but they just haven't been able to put together a full game plan. They've also battled a lot of injuries this season, so it was nice for the Bears to have the week off last week. I think everybody involved with the program was needing some time to kind of get their mental back and focus and try to figure out how they can right the ship. And it's not going to be easy, man. You have to go to Lubbock this week and face Texas Tech on their homecoming. And Texas Tech has emerged as one of the better teams in the Big 12. And while Baylor had that time to heal up, Texas Tech also did, as the Red Raiders had last week off. The biggest challenge for Baylor, which is going to lead to our first key to the game, is can you bottle up Taj Brooks? The Manor native has done remarkable things for Texas Tech this season. He's emerged as the top running back in the Big 12, and he's also ranked number 3 in FBS rushing this season. He has just under 1,000 yards rushing on the year. He's averaging almost 4 yards per carry, and Baylor has struggled to stop anybody's rushing attack this season. Taj Brooks has put up big numbers on Baylor in the past. He is not scared of this team. He's probably licking his chops this week as he knows he gets to run up against this defense. Baylor has got to find a way to contain Taj Brooks. I don't think you can stop him at all, but you're going to have to slow him down. You're going to have to make Texas Tech find other ways to beat you, because if you let Taj Brooks cut loose, there's no chance for Baylor in this game. I just don't see a way that they have any option of winning if you do not bottle up Taj Brooks, and he is going to be ready to feast. Another area of concern for me is Baylor, all season long, Baylor has only really been able to rely on Sawyer Robertson. Let's just be real. Sawyer Robertson is the best player on Baylor's team, and he's really the only person I've seen all year come out ready to play week in and week out. And that's a bad sign for where this program's at, because you got a lot of guys out there who look like they don't want to show up and don't want to play. Sawyer is not that. Unfortunately for Sawyer, he's going to be in a situation in Lubbock where he's going to have to be asked to throw you to a win. And that's been the case for him most of this season. Baylor's only chances of being in the game is because of Sawyer Robertson. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what Texas Tech is really elite at, and that's forcing turnovers. They have that old take 3 mantra that Baylor used to have, and they are thriving on that in Lubbock. They have forced 8 turnovers in this season. They scored over 60 points off of those turnovers, and they thrive on putting quarterbacks into uncomfortable situations and making them throw. And I think that's one where Sawyer Robertson's got to be really diligent with his throws. If the receivers aren't there, get the ball out of bounds. Do not take any risks, because we've seen that in the past where he's just had to try to make something happen, and unfortunately it's cost Baylor. But that's not on Sawyer. That has not been on Sawyer. 100% it has not been. Finally, you're just going to have to find a way to start fast. I don't know what's going on with this team. We've seen it over the past few years where you hear all week long, oh, we've had a great week of practice, and then you come out and you look like you have no clue what's going on. The BYU game was pathetic. Baylor got down 21-0 real quick, and they never really had a chance. I mean, they fought back, but it was over. You look at Iowa State, they were able to come out fast, but then they just couldn't finish it. So I need Baylor to come out, have a fast start in this game, look like they want to take care of business, and they got to match Texas Tech touchdown for touchdown, because if they can't, it's going to get ugly real quick in Lubbock. I think Baylor can hang with Tech. I think Baylor could score on Tech's defense, but I'm not comfortable in picking Baylor to win this game. I think Tech comes out on top 38-30, and that's going to leave Baylor with needing to go 5-1 down the stretch to try to get bowl eligible, and I don't know that that's going to happen. But best of luck to them. Good luck out in Lubbock. We'll be back with more Game Day Live right after this.
Bring your favorite styles home for the holidays from Du Bois Furniture. We make it easy and affordable. Entertain in style this season with special holiday savings, plus up to 25% off all accessories and up to 70% off clearance at Du Bois Furniture.
At Jeff Hunter Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we build relationships. For more than 30 years, we've proudly served the Waco community, sharing Toyota's commitment to quality and embodying Waco values every step of the way. From our friendly sales team to our expert service technicians, our priority is always you, our valued customer. Shop Jeff Hunter Toyota or go to jeffhuntertoyota.com. Jeff Hunter Toyota, Toyota quality, Waco values.
If you need a system repair or replacement, call the good folks at Clark Heating and Air Conditioning. They're family owned and operated since 1999 and offer best of the best installation, maintenance, and customer service. Being Waco's Tempstar Elite dealer, they have the best warranties and financing options. The Clark team is knowledgeable, well-trained, and ready to serve you. Call Clark Heating and Air Conditioning today and see why they're Waco's Tempstar Elite dealer.
Sleep well and save during Du Bois Furniture's Home for the Holidays mattress sale. Sleep better on a new Sealy, Stearns & Foster, or Tempur-Pedic mattress. Plus, get up to a $300 in-store certificate and special financing now at Du Bois Furniture.
Watch the Greg May Honda Extra Point High School Football Show every Friday night at 10. Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pre-game coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
Now joined by Joey McGuire. You're exactly right, Craig, head coach at Texas Tech. What's up, man?
How you doing, guys? Good to see y'all.
You guys, your first couple games, Joey, I know were heartburn games for you. I mean, all games are probably heartburn games one way or the other, but you guys have really come together. Arizona State game was one of them where you had to tough it out on defense. You had to ward off that. How much does a win where you don't win it maybe necessarily in the normal style you're used to build confidence of, hey, we just held this team to 22 points here and contained Cam Scatteraboo as much as anybody has?
Yeah, it was big. You know, that was you're opening Big 12. You're opening against they're a really good football team. You know, all the way across the board, defensive front, linebackers, and man, it was a huge win. You know, and man, those first two games, really all of them. I mean, I think I had more hair when this season started, and I don't have a lot of hair anyway. And we're just finding ways to win games, and we found a way to play good defense against those guys, and found a way to win the game.
Joey, sometimes when you hear about a team that plays so hard, it might not be a team that's winning a lot. Man, they play so hard. But you guys are winning. You're winning the close games, which we all know the history of the Big 12. Whoever can do that is usually playing sometime in early December. And then, of course, at a bowl game or more. But you really have a team that seems like they love to play the game. Is that a compliment to everybody involved?
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot to do with the coaches and the strength staff. I mean, everybody in this building. I go back to 2019, and y'all remember this, how many close games we played in 2019 with Charlie Brewer, you know, leading us down right at the end, played great defense, you know, just tough teams. And that's the thing. We did a deep dive into who we were last year. We lost two games last year. Wyoming and Oregon were single score games, and we lost. And in February, all we talked about as a coaching staff is just whatever game it is, whatever's going on, let's just find a way to win that game. I mean, there's going to be shootouts like Cincinnati and when we played them, and then there's going to be games that are going to be close games like the Arizona State game, or close games to get like the Arizona game, to where you just got to continue to just find a way to win the game. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. I would love a 14-point win or a 21-point win, but it's not where we're at. And so we're just going to try to get the game into the fourth quarter and, fight our tails off to come out, whether it's a 1-point victory or a 7-point victory, whatever it is. That's kind of, we're okay with that. That's the one thing this team is. We're okay with it. We're going to fight all 4 quarters and, see what happens.
Okay, Coach, if I wanted to tackle Taj Brooks, if I'm squared up on him, what's the best way to do that? Would it be business decision and just try to swoop him up, or just don't?
Just don't. I'm telling you, man, the guy is – I've never been around a running back quite like him because, his feet are always moving, but he might not be going forward or going to the side. He's so patient. And then whenever he gets going, he's 230 pounds. I don't know what he squats. I think we stopped him at 650 last year and just said, hey, there's no reason to squat any more than this. And he's just – and then the great thing about him, man, the guy is just a great human, man. He's fun to be around. He's a great leader. He's a college graduate. He checks every box. That's what I tell every scout. He's going to be a great guy in the locker room. And then I think he's the best all-around back when you're talking about he's got great hands. He's very physical in pass pro. And then he just has a knack for making people miss and falling forward.
Joey, Baylor has struggled again, and they just seem like about the time maybe they've turned the corner, they get a punt blocked or something happens, or they start poorly, or they start well. And you watched them. That's what you're getting ready for now. What is the biggest concern for you with them? Is it that they have not put 2 halves together and that's about to happen? And is that keep you up at all?
Yeah, it keeps me up. They're a good football team. Honestly, they could easily be 4-2. I thought, whenever, and I've listened and I've watched them, and they had a bad start against BYU, but then they're throwing the ball in the end zone to win that game. And they had a good start against Iowa State, but God, you go back to that Colorado game. That they played 4 quarters to 1 drive. It's just 1 drive and 1 play. And I think Sanders is the best quarterback in college football. By far, he is the best quarterback in college football. I don't think there's another quarterback in the nation that could play in that offense, do what they do, and play at the level that he's playing at. It's just my opinion, but I think he's really special. And, right up into that last drive and that last throw, they had that game won. And, man, it's hard to come back from those games. And you said it perfect, man. I'm nervous. Do they, come out and play 4 quarters against us? I expect they do. They haven't stopped playing hard. And then I know the old guys on that team. I got to coach them. I know how hard they're going to play on Saturday. And so it's the Big 12, man. I heard Kenny Dillingham say it, man. You look up and you look at a score and you're like, man, how did that happen? Or, man, I didn't think that was going to happen. That happens every single week in the Big 12. And so we've got to do a great job of preparing for a really good football team. I do think Sawyer has brought a lot of life to that offense. So, they've been able to score some points. And so we've got to do a good job of preparing for them.
It is a different offense than you guys have seen the last couple of years when you've played them. Very, very different. It's more similar schematically to yours, but still Jake Spavital's system is different. Does that present challenges for the guys who kind of think they may know Baylor a little bit more and have to know something else this year?
Yeah, they Spav's kind of out of the same tree as Kitley and Kingsbury and Dana and Holgerson and everybody. They've all got some of Leach's air raid in it. I think Sawyer's done a good job of running that offense. The receivers give you, they like Hal Presley just keeps making big plays. Josh has done a great job in the red zone. I think he's got 4 touchdowns over the last few games in the red zone. They've got 2 really good slots, that can create problems with you in space. And so we've played similar offenses, but those similar offenses have given us a lot of trouble, and so we've got to do a good job. We're getting healthier. Like Baylor, I think both of us will be as healthy as we've been, coming off this bye week, and so that's going to be good for both teams. But we've got to play well on defense. And one thing that we've been able to do is we caused a lot of turnovers, and we've scored off those turnovers. I think we scored 59 points in the last 4 weeks off of turnovers, and we've got to do the same thing on Saturday.
Joey, is there still any additional emotion with this game with you because you were here with Matt Rule, and then, of course, you left in the middle of the year because the opportunity was there for you to take over and start working on the offseason? Is there anything extra emotionally for you here?
I'd be lying to say that there wasn't, because there is. Man, I love that place. It was so good to me and my family. Garrett's a Baylor Bear, and it'll always have a special place. I'm at Texas Tech because of my time at Baylor, and there's still some of the older guys that, Garmin Randolph and Matt Jones. I coached both of them as a position coach. They're like family to me. Steve Linton was on my team last year. He's like family to me. So, I've got a great care factor for those guys, great care factor for that coaching staff that I was a part of. But I do think that it's more like playing TCU, more like playing Oklahoma State, more like playing K-State from the standpoint of we're far enough removed. We've both won games, and so it's a little bit different feeling. And then, man, we're right now, all we're trying to do is to get 1-0 and try to go 4-0 in the Big 12. So the mindset is like, we really don't care who we're playing. We just got to find a way to win that game. And so I think it's a little bit different than it has been the last 2 years. Last year was really emotional going back there. That was and Garrett was on the sideline. He had a bye week that week. And so that was pretty emotional last year. But I think we're kind of a little bit farther past that. And I have a great respect for those guys. And, I wish them luck for the rest of the year. I just want to get them on Saturday.
So there's Joey McGuire from Texas Tech on their game Saturday against Baylor. Last year, Taj Brooks, 170 yards, 31 carries. They couldn't tackle him. They're not the only team that couldn't do it. Morton threw 3 touchdowns, and they were just beating them up. Baylor had no chance in that game, losing 39-14.
Game Day Live, sponsored locally by Central Texas Plumbing Solutions and Bird Colgin Ford. KWTX presents the Greg May Honda Extra Point High School Football Show on News 10. Catch highlights from teams all across Central Texas every Friday night at 10. The Greg May Honda Extra Point High School Football Show on KWTX News 10 is sponsored by Greg May Honda and in part by Slovacek's, the Good Feet Store, and the Zimmerman Law Firm.
Need auto parts? Budget Wrench-A-Part has a huge inventory with new arrivals daily. Search parts easily on our website or give us a call. Then grab your tools and visit our organized yard where you can easily locate, pull your own parts, and save big. Got a junk car taking up space? We pay top dollar and the tow is free. Pick and pull your parts or sell your junker with Budget Wrench-A-Part, your auto part headquarters located on 190 in Belton.
What have we got?
The Andersons. All night, tossing and turning, bad backs, sleep score at an all-time low.
Round up the team.
At Denver Mattress, going undercover is literally how we solve problems. And when we find sleepers waking up with aches and pains, we turn to the Tempur-Pedic Adapt, designed for ultimate pressure relief that uniquely adapts to your body's pressure points. The Tempur Adapt features innovative technology, so you get deep, undisturbed rest all night long. Denver Mattress, the easiest way to get the right Tempur-Pedic.
Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pregame coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
And also the actual schedule in the top 25, but we'll discuss right now with Craig and Paul, David Smoak, 365 Sports and KWTX Game Day Live. the storylines this week in college football. Paul, which one? I mean, obviously Georgia Texas tonight is huge among some other games. But what's the best or the one storyline this week in college football or two that you remember?
I think Nebraska, Indiana, and I know you don't want to talk about it because it's going to make you nervous, is the best game that is kind of falling behind. I mean, look, as far as coverage goes, I know Big Noon is there, but it's hard to bask in the glow of anything other than Texas and Georgia this week and all the stuff that's going on down in Austin. But I really do think that's going to be a fantastic game and two really good teams in it. And I want to point out my upset special this week is Louisville and Miami. Miami, they've been playing fast and loose. Louisville's taking a loss or so here and there, but I think this one will be tough there in Louisville early on for Miami.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clearly Georgia and Texas's weekend. I mean, it's a weekend where Alabama, Tennessee are also playing. Somebody will take their second loss there and be on the line of flirting with not making the playoffs, so that's a big game for that reason. But yeah, it's Georgia, Texas. I mean, there's a couple of other games that are interesting, but I don't think nationally many people are all that caught up in a lot of the Big 12 stuff necessarily. There's certainly not a game that pops out on the forefront in comparison to Georgia and Texas. So yeah, I think that's where all eyes are.
I saw one of the stories, and there's always a little uniqueness in almost any game, but Uga, the 2-year-old, the Bulldog, is not making the trip to Austin. Remember the last time they played in a bowl game and Texas beat Georgia, and Bevo almost took out Uga along with everybody else. This is a new 2-year-old Uga. There are conflicting reports. Was he too young to fly and travel? Or did Texas say you don't need to bring him here because Georgia said next year Bevo can't come to Athens?
Well, I mean, look, they've been known to do that. I mean, they said travel logistics, so I'll take him at their word there, although they've brought him a whole lot of other places. But they did have that little conflict. And look, a Bulldog's really not going to cause, especially, an English Bulldog like Uga, he's not really going to cause. They're not the scariest of animals. Now, a Longhorn, like an actual live Longhorn that gets agitated because of
anything,
a dog, is a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised if I don't think this was you don't bring him, we don't bring you, but I think both of them would be like, hey, you remember last time where this didn't really go how we wanted it to, just trying to do a photo op? Let's not make that mistake again.
By the way, this is a note. Georgia has the longest active winning streak in college football. No, I know they lost earlier this year. As a betting favorite, 49 consecutive games they have won. When they were the favorite, they are as much as a 5.5-point underdog today in Austin. It opened as 3.5 points, and actually the money going towards Texas is about 5.5 points as far as the favorite as well. Now, anything else as far as news? The good news this last week was there's no news when it comes to anything with conference realignment. That was great to see. You had your typical notes about different stadium renovations and that kind of thing as well. There were some commitments and also decommitments. I saw that too. Pittsburgh had a new AD that they hired yesterday. That was the case too. But for the most part, it was one of the quietest weeks in college football. And now that we're deep into the heart of this season, it's nice that it's just about the games.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hawaii joining the Mountain West as a full-time member was the only realignment news, and that was not really a super shocker there. It wasn't earth-shattering all the way around. So, yeah, no, it's been nice to just be able to have the football for the first time this year.
I think that there ought to be a ban on anything realignment once you get to September 1st. There should be, it's a ban. You can't do anything, although that would be silly because obviously people can do whatever the heck they want to do as well.
Well, and it's too easy to just not be accurate and still get all the views for throwing stuff out there. So, unfortunately, we're in a views world, and whatever you can do to get those. Sometimes there's something to it, as we saw with UConn earlier, and there's been little things here and there. Obviously, with the PAC and all of their reorganizing, that was something of substance. But yeah, I think anything right now is pretty much off the radar, and that's good because there's plenty of time for that, but who needs that during the course of an actual football season?
All right, when we come back, we have plenty to get to, and we'll look at the Big 12 schedule and where the games are, what time they kick, and also what networks, plus the top 25, more than just Georgia, Texas, that Tennessee, Alabama, and more. And again, this is Game Day Live on KWTX and 365 Sports.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected, get involved. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
Score big savings at the Kickoff to Savings event at Richard Carr Buick. A first-year All-American and a 2024 Car and Driver Magazine Editor's Choice, the all-new Buick Envista starts at only $23,990. Or make the winning drive in a 2024 Buick Encore GX SUV and save $4,000 for non-GM car owners. Qualified buyers get 0.9% financing and no payments for 90 days. Score your deal at the Kickoff to Savings event going on now at Richard Carr Buick.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Make Camp Info the destination for your next visit to Waco. Whether you're catching a football game, exploring the silos, or just looking to get away, Camp Info Waco is conveniently located 6 miles from downtown and Baylor University. Voted the #1 best vacation rental in Waco for the last 2 years, this camping resort features cabins and RV sites and is brimming with premium amenities like on-site dining, sports courts, a swimming pool, and more. Start making unforgettable memories and book your stay at Camp Info Waco.
Get ready, Baylor fans. The ultimate game weekend experience awaits you at the Baylor Club. Kick off your weekend with our Friday Night Live pep rally. With live entertainment and special appearances from the Baylor Spirit Squad, it's the perfect way to start your game weekend with a roar. On Saturdays, don't miss our Knox Hall tailgate. Enjoy delicious food, ice-cold drinks, and great company as you gear up for the big game. And after the weekend's excitement, wrap it all up with our famous Bear brunches on Sundays. Don't wait. Make your game weekends legendary with a Baylor Club membership today.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pregame coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
You in the commercial break, we appreciate all of our sponsors with the TV show and also what we do on the YouTube channel 365 Sports. But I have been inside Camp Fimfo, driven through it, and what they have, that's a really, really, really nice place if you are coming in from out of town for maybe a Baylor game, or you're coming in out of town to just stop for a day or two. They have great facilities if you have not seen it, just off of Lakeshore Drive. Okay, here is the Big 12 schedule. And again, we have the games going on that are today in the Big 12, including, of course, there are a handful of games. Last night we mentioned that BYU beat Oklahoma State. You have Arizona State kicking off at about, little over an hour at Cincinnati on ESPN+. This is a game that, with ASU without their quarterback, Cincinnati's tougher than nails. This one, we can kind of look at just a couple of clips of each of these games. Guys, Paul, your thoughts about this one?
Such a bummer for Arizona State that they've got to roll out with a backup quarterback today against Cincinnati. Brendan Sorsby's been really good. Cincinnati's a 6-point favorite. I think that that line moved the minute that Sam Leavitt wasn't going to play. Jeff Sims through Georgia Tech and Nebraska, and now at Arizona State. But in those first 2 stops, he was plagued by turnovers. Fantastic athlete. Like, he's athletic and fast and everything you want to see, but he's not good at holding the ball.
No, he's not. He doesn't protect it. Craig?
Yeah, I mean, this was already going to be a close game as is with Sam Leavitt hurt. I don't like Arizona State nearly as much because I don't think Jeff Sims is that great a quarterback. Off the bus guy, he's probably first in line, but what we've seen on the field, the last in line. So I think Cincinnati at home with a relatively even opponent is definitely, sitting there with a better quarterback in their arsenal and that home field advantage. So I would like Cincinnati here.
All right, so there's that game. It kicks off right after we say goodbye this morning at about 10:30, 11 o'clock kick. Houston at Kansas. Houston, of course, had that nice win against TCU. KU, what an absolute disappointing year for Lance Leipold and the Jayhawks.
Yeah, look, and this is, you want to talk about buffer. They're also at a buffer as well. And they're favorites in this game, but, man, it's just so hard to see them winning because they're so bad at the end of games. This is a team that, for the most part this year, has played really close games, but at the end of games, they just don't finish. And they made the wrong hire at OC. It hasn't worked out for them, and Jalen Daniels has regressed. Those two things happening at the same time have just spelled doom for them because if you look at them compared to some other 1-5 teams, you look at their schedule and go, well, it's not like they're getting blown out every week. I mean, Kansas teams are certainly used to in the past where this is where you scored 40 on somebody. That's not happening. They cannot close a game, and it is gut-wrenching for the Jayhawk fans.
Jalen Daniels looked really good the last time we saw him. Looked the best that he has as far as this season goes after a pretty poor start. So I think if that can carry over, they're in a much better spot on the other side of this first bye week, and certainly they should win this game. If not, then heads need to roll. It won't be Lance Leipold's, we know that, but they're going to have to do something to spark that fan base because, I mean, you're looking at 1-6 and you're not going 5-0 down the stretch. That's just not going to happen. So, yeah, this is a must-win in various ways for Kansas.
Yeah, what a great fun season it was last year. Not great, but a fun season. All the expectations, and that's why basketball starts. And KU football will be right back on the back burner. They were anyway, but they at least brought a pulse. Colorado at Arizona. Colorado, the Buffaloes, the loss last week to K-State. Arizona, okay. It's not who we thought they were. They're not as good, but a win against Colorado would help. But Colorado looking to try to get another win and possibly closer to bowl eligibility.
Yeah, I'm Colorado in this one. I think that they can get it done. Although I think this is going to be an interesting game because I think these teams are a little bit similar in the fact that defense not their thing, running the ball not their thing. We'll see. It's going to come down to who can make the big plays. Like the quarterback square off in this one, like Fafita. Love Shadur Sanders. Watching him play is really fun. Just imagine when he gets to the NFL, if he goes to a team that has a running game, he's going to be pretty lethal.
Arizona's favored in this game, just slightly. I think that's home field advantage, giving them that. I feel like it's a kind of a hard game to peg. I think Colorado's the better team. I think Shador's the better quarterback, and Noah Fafita has been very up and down as of late. So Arizona, I don't think it's impossible by any stretch that they get the win today, but that'll take Fafita and McMillan getting back online and some other guys around them not relying solely on those two to win this game themselves. I think this ought to be really interesting. I think Colorado's better, and I'd take them on the road, but Arizona is slightly favored.
By the way, the KU, you mentioned if they lose today, they play at Kansas State, home against Iowa State, at BYU, and then Colorado and Baylor to close out their year. We've discussed Baylor Tech quite a bit and more to come with that. UCF is another team that has kind of been in a free fall at what is a grinding, just efficient and really solid team, number 9 ranked Iowa State.
Yeah, not the team I want to play when I'm trying to end a 3-game losing streak, and not the place I want to be when I'm trying to end a 3-game losing streak, and not the place I want to be when I'm rolling out a new quarterback, which is Curry Brown, again playing this week for UCF. He's very athletic, has not played a lot between Miami and UCF, kind of in and out of the lineup when he was at Miami in the pre-Cam Ward days there. So I just think Iowa State's so good. They're not going to lose this game at home, and 4-game losing streak, very likely for UCF. Gus has got to string something together there. It's so surprising to me that they have not. I think he's a really good coach, but he hasn't found the mix there in the Big 12 at UCF yet.
Yeah, give me Iowa State. They're like 2 touchdown favorites at home, and they're clearly better at this point than UCF.
17th ranked K-State off the win in Boulder at West Virginia. Craig, that game's a 6:30 kick on Fox.
So must win for Neil Brown. I don't know that he's on the verge of getting fired, but I think he's going to be finding that out pretty soon if they don't win this game. You lost to Iowa State at home last week. They got the fans turning on you and eliminated a lot of the goodwill you had built up last year. Another big opportunity at home. You don't win this one, then you really don't have anything to show for these last couple of years ultimately, and I think that would really turn up the heat for Ren Baker to have to make a statement, if not make a move towards starting to figure out what the future looks like.
And they're going to fly a banner over the stadium about Fire Neil Brown, a fan base group that's doing that. Also, Paul, 30 seconds, TCU, another team that's kind of up and down. Utah, a team that lost Cam Rising, got him back, lost him again, and they now move forward with Isaac Wilson.
I think Utah in this one, I think their defense is good enough to kind of run and control the game. But TCU, if they can get that offense going, they're going to be tough to stop. But I still like Utah.
See if Utah gets a few picks against Josh Hoover, who has been good, but also has thrown too many interceptions along the way. When we come back, a very insightful interview with former Baylor starting quarterback Seth Russell about this team, what he sees, and also the eventual reunion for the Big 12 championship teams later in November against TCU. This is Game Day Live.
Central Texas Plumbing Solution is the team you can count on to go the extra mile and resolve your plumbing problems quickly and thoroughly. Getting it done right the first time. So when you need some help before the big game, call Central Texas Plumbing Solutions.
What sets Hillcrest Dental Care apart is our vision of how we want to care for our patients to improve their health and their quality of life, whether it's the teeth, the gums, the bite, or the smile.
Because I didn't feel anything at all. When I woke up there, I had everything done. I go to the restaurant to eat, and the waitress said this, "You got new teeth." So they noticed it too. If you want something done that is good and permanent, this is the place to go.
Need auto parts? Budget Wrench-A-Part has a huge inventory with new arrivals daily. Search parts easily on our website or give us a call. Then grab your tools and visit our organized yard where you can easily locate, pull your own parts, and save big. Got a junk car taking up space? We pay top dollar and the tow is free. Pick and pull your parts or sell your junker with Budget Wrench-A-Part, your auto part headquarters located on 190 in Belton.
Central Texas Plumbing Solution is the team you can count on to go the extra mile and resolve your plumbing problems quickly and thoroughly. Getting it done right the first time. So when you need some help before the big game, call Central Texas Plumbing Solutions.
Watch the Greg May Honda Extra Point High School Football Show every Friday night at 10. Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pregame coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
Russell, a great player at Baylor, a part of Baylor Athletics pregame show. He joins us, Greg Smoak, Paul Catalina, David Smoak. Seth, when you watch Baylor right now, you are on teams that made quite the run, obviously. Memorable wins and memorable seasons, and you were a part of that run that Baylor had up until everything fell apart. What does this do to you just as a former player?
You know, you try to find the positive, right? I mean, it's frustrating to see, you know, not to discredit any of those players and guys out there. I know they're trying their hardest and they're doing what they can with what they're being coached to do. But on the flip side, it kind of gets old, right? I mean, whenever you work really hard as a program to build it up to what it was, and then everything kind of started to fall apart, and it's just been really hard to kind of build back up to that level again. Other than 21, and so, but it's on our end. I mean, we're, as a former player, has been a part of the program. It's not easy to win. It is extremely hard, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of a program that was about winning, right? And we won consistently. And I think watching the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years of ups and downs, there just hasn't really been any consistency on the winning side. So when you don't really know what winning feels like, it's hard to know how to shoot for it. And so, I know these guys are doing their best. They're trying the hardest, and it's just the outcomes just haven't been what we've expected from a Baylor, fan base who is used to winning and scoring a lot of points and doing all that on a more fun level.
Seth, this team, if you go back, Colorado game was the kind of place where it really got exposed. They've got guys, and look, Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter, all those guys, but even LeJontay Wester and other players are huge. They, in the moment, know it's time to make a play, and they go do it. In that same game, Baylor, given those same opportunities, did make those plays. Is that something you have, or is it something you can learn?
A little bit of both. To be put in those positions, those have to be, if you don't know how to work in those certain circumstances, or you've never been in that type of circumstance, then how do you react? Right? It's kind of you do it, you learn it by doing it. And so, whether that's, not performing, in practice, or preparing for it, practice, on a daily basis. I mean, we didn't do a whole lot of back in my day, we didn't do a whole lot of Hail Mary setups or anything like that, but at least we were ingrained to do it at least maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times, in the preseason, just throughout the week. And so, but then again, you have to be a dog, right? You have to, your football IQ has to be at a level to where, even if you've never been in that circumstance before, you probably watched enough football, right, to know that Hail Marys are going to be a part of the game. And how are you going to react whenever your name is called? What's your 1/11th? What are you supposed to do? And just go out and make a play. And I think, just maybe the moment got too big for some of those guys, or maybe they just weren't, put in a position to execute at a high level.
Seth, do you think this team has an identity right now?
I don't think so. From the outside looking in, now the guys inside, they could probably say differently because they're a part of that program. But it's hard to find an identity when where there's more losses than wins.
Right.
Consistently over the past 4 to 5 years, it's hard to find an identity. I mean, because if you're not winning, then you don't want to have that identity that you're basing your foundation around. You want to find a different one that is revolved around winning. And so I don't think they do. I think they have an idea of what they want to be. I know, at least on the offensive side, I mean, Sawyer is holding that program together. I mean, let's be honest, right? He's slinging the ball around. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders. I think he's handling it extremely well with what he's been given. Our run game has just been non-existent the past couple of weeks. I think our leading rusher averages 2.6 yards a carry in conference play, which is not great. And so, identity, I don't think they have one just yet.
You had, and there was a run where you had large, as Steve Sarkisian now says, is Texas's buildings, large human beings in front of you, whether they were junior college players that transferred or guys that just marinated for a year or two, but you had some absolute dudes in front of you on the offensive line. I don't see anything. There's guys with bodies that are big, et cetera, but do you see any dudes on the offensive line for Baylor?
Comparatively to when I played, no. But then again, it's a different style of football, right? I mean, our style was, you're going to smash you in the mouth, and we're gonna get. All of this is developed in the offseason, right? Whether you're big, small. You look at you look at some of those guys that came in, from freshman year. I mean, looking back, I guess it would have been technically sophomore year, like Pat Colbert, for example. I mean, he came in weighing a $180, a $190, right? He was not, I mean, soaking wet. But, I mean, he worked. He busted his tail. The program put him into the upper 200s, right? Maybe even close to 3 to where, he developed into his body. And so, it's I think just the development, whether that's off season, whatever it is, I mean, that's what's going to set you up for the type of play that you want. Now, granted, with Spav coming in this year, maybe the off season regime is not set to what he's expected, right? And I think that can be set up after year 2 if we get there. And so, yeah, I don't see. I mean, I know I know they're wanting to be some dogs up front. I know they're wanting to get grimy, but let's just, not play dirty, but let's play, aggressive. I mean, let's not get pushed around. Let's really do, and maybe that's a scheme, right? I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to put the pieces together, just like you guys are. And so, yeah, to answer your question, no, I don't see any comparatively to whenever I played.
Do you think that the coaching staff has done a better job this year of putting them in positions to win?
I think so. And I mean, you see that just from the style of play, right? I mean, when we had Grimes in here last year, it was like watching paint dry. I mean, to be honest, it was not something exciting to watch. I mean, at least now, hey, they're throwing the ball down the field, right? They're letting Sawyer do what he does. I mean, even when Shapen was here, he could sling it, but he was only able to do it whenever he had to. It wasn't built into the offense. And so, I like the trajectory. Now I know there's a lot of emotions tied into this season, right? With a lot of stakes that a lot of things on on the forefront. A lot of people on the hot seat right now, and I think it's you're seeing a different side. I think of Aranda. Just being on the defense, he's trying to bring out some emotion, even though he's said in the past he is not that type of guy. And so he's really trying to do something different, which I think is helping the defense and helping the team at least see some fight, because we didn't see that last year, right? And so I think just all around, I mean, I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible, but we have to be realistic as well.
Sawyer Robertson, I think as a collective, weren't anticipating him being the guy, throughout the season maybe, and he basically has been. I mean, DeQuan Finn got hurt pretty much right out of the gates, and it's been Sawyer since then, really. What have been your thoughts on what you've seen from him? He seems to kind of be how he goes, the rest of the offense and the rest of the team almost seems to go.
Yeah, I've been happy with him. I mean, I said this a couple of weeks, I think, on the pregame show where, we haven't seen, like, Sawyer's full potential, right? Because I think to his defense, I mean, it's a new system. Everybody's trying to understand it. And I think, with what Spav wants to do with this offense, he's got to have some guys to take the top off the defense. And he just doesn't have that. I mean, Baldwin, you can argue, does, but, I mean, he shows up once every 4 games, and it's just, it's something that, you need consistency. I mean, you got Hal Presley out there, you got Cameron. I mean, you got all these guys that I think are good possession receivers, right? No, they're not somebody that have 3 or 4 or 5 different gears like you did with like Corey Coleman and Kendall Ride and Katie Cannon and those guys that you put it out there.
Yeah.
They're coming down with it, right? And I mean, you think you're going to overthrow it by 15 yards, but they're going to find a way to get to it. And we just don't have those guys. And I think that really handcuffs what I think Sawyer's potential is with this offense, because he can swing it. He's shown that he's got the arm strength to really put the ball wherever he wants on the field, and it goes from feeling free to let it rip down the field to where you have to put it on a receiver, that may not be able to stretch the field. That's what gets really difficult from a quarterback standpoint. But at least he's learning his receivers and what he can and can't do, stretching the ball down the field.
They have a really nice class of 2025 that they hope they can seal and get to in December. But at the same time, Seth, I don't know what's going to happen if things continue to end up with one loss after another. Can you hold the school or the program hostage because of the hope of signing people in December?
it's in the. I mean, you've probably heard this before. In the age of NIL, I mean, anything can happen, right? I mean, even if you had a record-breaking year, I mean, you can have some of these guys coming in and they can get taken, like the Navasot. I mean, for example, right? I mean, he gets last minute gets bought by Oregon. It's just like, I mean, you want to try to do your best from a program standpoint. You want to try to keep these guys, within the program, whether coach is here or not. But I mean, it's I think it's really anybody's game whenever it comes down to, until that name is signed on the dotted line, anything is possible and anything can happen. And I think that you have to make a long-term play, right? What's best for the program. If it's loss after loss after loss after loss going through the end of the season, then you can kind of read the writing on the wall, right? But if it's like, hey, we went out, now it gets really gray area, right? It's like, hey, we're building a program. It's taken 4 or 5 years, but at least we're getting there. So now it's like, now there's harder decisions to be made. And then that could arguably, cause for, to keep those recruits, right? Because they're coming into a building program. They see what the potential could look like, what they could be a part of, changing it back to a winning program. So, I mean, there's a lot of different selling points. It just, it's all going to depend on what happens on the field the next half of the season.
Thank you very much, Seth. Appreciate your time. Love watching you play. Appreciate your opinion, input, and also knowledge. Seth Russell.
Game Day Live, sponsored locally by Central Texas Plumbing Solutions and Bird Colgin Ford.
When choosing the right orthodontist to do your kids' braces, being confident and comfortable with your choice is essential.
In Fusion Dental, we will greet you in your language.
Our orthodontist will walk you through the process and provide you with options in the language you're most comfortable with. How are you doing today?
From the person that greets you at the door to the doctor who will do your treatment, we all speak Spanish. You can follow me.
Dental care and orthodontics for everyone. Brighter smiles begin here at Fusion Dental.
Did you know BYOT Auto Parts is one of the largest buyers of used cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs in Central Texas? We'll buy your car today, running or not, and you'll get paid top dollar on the spot. Tired of pouring money into your car? We feel your pain. Got a vehicle that's just collecting dust? We'll pick it up for free and you still get paid. Looking for quality used auto parts? Look no further at BYOT. Bring your own tools and pull your own parts. Call or visit us online today.
BYOT Auto Parts. BYOT Auto Parts. Bring your own tools, pull your own parts.
Wake up, people! Rotten sleep means rotten moods, rotten backs, rotten health. Rotten breath goes without saying, but you're in luck. Because during the incredible value sale, the more you buy, the more you save. Save $100 on every $1,000 you spend. Check out the Buena Vista. Any size, any model, and save $100. Or get 60 months no interest and free shipping. Kick that rotten sleep to the curb. Only at Denver Mattress. The easiest way to get the right mattress.
Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pre-game coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
Catalina, Craig Smoak, Garrett Ross is running the mothership. This is Game Day Live. We'll hear from Dave Aranda in just a second. And if you look at Baylor, after that nice start to the 2022 season, coming off that really best year ever in 21, the bowl win against Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl, Big 12 championship. Baylor has lost 17 of their last 22 games. And if you really dissect even the 5 wins, there's nothing impressive since that time. So since winning on the road against Texas Tech and Oklahoma in the middle of 2022, they have absolutely gone off the rails. This question is very fair to head coach Dave Aranda.
Have confidence in these guys. I mean, so much of playing good football is playing with confidence.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that. I think that's something you have to fight for. I think whatever noise there is, whatever critique, however justified, I think on one side of it you understand, and then the other side of it, that's just there's no place for that right here. All we can control is what's right in front of us, and this play, this particular series, this group period, this team period. And so to focus on the focus is a big, big, big emphasis. And I think when you do that, you recognize the talent and the skill that you have and what's possible. And I know our guys still feel that. I can feel the energy. They don't have to use their words as much as just kind of how hard they play and the energy that's out there when they're going.
Dave, 3 years down the road, is there less concern about what Joey knows and some of the other guys on that staff know about your personnel, your schemes, things like that?
I think so. I think, there's enough for us to worry about our stuff, and just kind of playing 4 quarters and doing the things that it takes to win. I'm impressed with their team. I'm impressed with how they're playing. And you watch their film, they play hard. And so I know it'll be a challenge. It'll be it'll be the best that they got when we get together on Saturday. I know that's going to be the case.
It's kind of cliche, but do you feel like the bye week came at a good time, being able to kind of take a step back and, reflect and then prepare for the back half of the season?
I think it can be if you use it that way. I think, the bye is always hard after a really tough loss because you're just kind of sitting in it, and but I think if you use that feeling to really try to get honest with what needs to improve and how you need to improve it, a lot of times that's maybe way opposite of what you want to believe or thought you were believing or kind of came to believe. And so I think all of those things, if you look in mirrors and stuff, it's kind of hard. And so I think if you do that and you have a chance to get better, then we'll see. I think there's been a fair amount of that going on these last couple of days.
Is there any residual mojo, good feelings from the last time y'all went out to Lubbock a couple years ago?
No, we've watched that game, a couple times, and we've watched last year's game, which was the opposite of that, and I think the things that hold true there are the truths that are evident in both of those games. Is that if we can get ahead of the sticks, their tempo slows down, and we can get them into third and gotta throw situations. I think 2 years ago we were able to do that. Had a bunch of picks. Because it was, third and got to throw. Last year we struggled with big plays and we struggled to defend the run. And so we were never really able to get in those situations. And I think, that's true with most offenses. It's clearly true with these guys, particularly this year. They're running it more than they usually run it. That is the difference from 2 years ago, is that there's a fair amount of just throw. And now it's more run. And so I think the opportunity to kind of hone in on that and play complementary football, get the ball back to our offense is clearly there.
All right, that's Dave Aranda from Monday earlier this week after the bye week. And, of course, Baylor at 2-4 needing wins because, again, the clock is ticking when it comes to trying to get the bowl eligibility, which seems to be what was the bottom level of Dave Aranda and this staff coming back for another year. They're 2-4 at Texas Tech and not favored to win today in Lubbock. We're going to come back and discuss a little bit more of what I said. They are 5-17 the last 2.5 years. And even if you look at the 5 wins, it's tough to do. This team needs something good to happen. Can they just all of a sudden change? Can they put 2 halves together? We come back. Craig and Paul, David Smoak. This is Game Day Live.
It's time to score big savings at the Kickoff to Savings event on GMC trucks at Richard Carr GMC. Take the winning drive with the Texas Truck MVP. GMC Sierra is the best truck on the road. Save $9,000 on 2024 GMC Sierra SLT models in stock with approved trade-in. Plus, qualified buyers get 1.9% financing and no payments for 90 days. See dealer for details. Save big and score your deal at the Kickoff to Savings event at Richard Carr GMC.
Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected. Get involved. Learn how at Baylor.edu/alumni.
Get ready, Baylor fans. The ultimate game weekend experience awaits you at the Baylor Club. Kick off your weekend with our Friday Night Live pep rally. With live entertainment and special appearances from the Baylor Spirit Squad, it's the perfect way to start your game weekend with a roar. On Saturdays, don't miss our Knox Hall tailgate. Enjoy delicious food, ice-cold drinks, and great company as you gear up for the big game. And after the weekend's excitement, wrap it all up with our famous Bear brunches on Sundays. Don't wait. Make your game weekends legendary with a Baylor Club membership today.
TFNB Your Bank for Life is the official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Find out why more Central Texas are making TFNB their bank for life. Sign up for our Edge checking and savings accounts to earn interest or cash back. With 5 convenient locations and an award-winning mobile app, banking has never been easier. TFNB Your Bank for Life. Member FDIC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott understand these are difficult and changing times we live in, but they know how important your financial investments are to you. So is your financial advisor staying in touch with you and helping you navigate today's financial climate? Invest with Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Chuck Verno, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, who invest their time and experience back to you and your money. And like coaching athletes, investing money is about time, patience, and encouragement. Contact Ben Erlinson at 254-759-8533. Brad Wilson's location at 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, and Cam Heathcott in Conroe. Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, proud sponsors of 365 Sports. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pregame coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
The show today on 365 Sports and KWTX. By the way, that Oklahoma State lost to BYU after the game. Mike Gundy saying that quarterback Garrett Rangel is going to be out for a while. And that's when Alan Bowen, the veteran, came in to try to rally him. It didn't work out. BYU wins it. Paul, your thoughts? Okay, 5 wins in the last 22 games. A 1-point win against UCF. They had the strip and fumble recovery, scoop and score that brought them back. 3-point win at Cincinnati that was dicey. Long Island, Tarleton State, and a very young Air Force team. They haven't beaten anybody good, and it's been since 2021.
Yeah, and I don't think
2022 early.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to start now. I mean, I would not be surprised to see if they play well offensively in this game for stretches, but I don't think they can stop Taj Brooks. They've not been good at home or on the road, and I just think Texas Tech's a better team playing with confidence, and Baylor's not. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, the results are what they are. I mean, there's no way to try and put lipstick on that. That's a bad 2.5 years, and even if you win today, it doesn't correct that fully, but this fan base needs something of substance, and you just pointed out what they have, what little they've gotten is not even really all that great. A win out in Lubbock would be great. It would really flip the attitude around here for at least a few days, and they go into a stretch where they play an Oklahoma State team that's very beatable, and they've got other winnable games, but I don't have high hopes for today just based on, the last couple of years, but I think a win would really feel great, and so hopefully they can at least get a temporary reprieve from the bad luck here the last couple of years and just get something nice on the resume, even if it doesn't change the long-term big picture.
God, it would just be like a feel-good, like a breath of fresh air. Like now when the fall weather starts to get cooler before it gets wet, windy, and nasty. Thanks to Nathan Smith from KWTX for his coverage and a live cut-in from Lubbock. Appreciate that. Thanks to Josh Young, general manager, and that entire group at KWTX. Remember, on weeknights at 10:30, we have 365 Sports tonight at 10:30 on the CW. Garrett Ross, great stuff as always. Appreciate all of our guests today. Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak. Can Baylor snap out of it? I don't know. This is Game Day Live.
Central Texas Plumbing Solution is the team you can count on to go the extra mile and resolve your plumbing problems quickly and thoroughly, getting it done right the first time. So when you need some help before the big game, call Central Texas Plumbing Solutions.
The right call can make all the difference on and off the field. Hi, I'm Mark Stewart with Bird Colgin Ford. When it's that time for your next car, truck, or SUV, Bird Colgin Ford is the right call. Check out the F-150, America's #1 truck, 47 years in a row. Now with 3.9 for 60, plus additional savings. Make the right call with your next vehicle at Bird Colgin Ford. Experience better at BK Ford.
It's the home makeover sale at Furniture Row, where the more you buy, the more you save. Save $100 on every $1,000 you spend. Plus, find unbeatable deals, like the Cascade sofa, only $4.99. Save big on the Gunsmoke panel bed, only $4.99. Get the 5-piece Central Park dining set for only $6.49. And save $100 on the Buena Vista, any size, any model. Or get more bang for your buck with 60 months, no interest. But don't miss out. The home makeover sale at Furniture Row ends Thursday the 24th.
Central Texas Plumbing Solution is the team you can count on to go the extra mile and resolve your plumbing problems quickly and thoroughly, getting it done right the first time. So when you need some help before the big game, call Central Texas Plumbing Solutions.
Watch the Greg May Honda Extra Point High School Football Show every Friday night at 10.